morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to talk about a very strange card, Galarian Zapdos V. No, wait, that was the last video. Galarian Moltres V, although I'm going to be honest with you, right? I liked Galarian Moltres V a lot before I saw Galarian Zapdos V, but we'll get there in a moment. Now, our translation today obviously comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet. That's a sentence you've heard a lot, and honestly, if Antoine keeps being as awesome, then it's going to be something you're going to keep hearing as we go. So we've got 220 HP, and that's high. That is about as high as we get for Pokemon Vs. You get things that creep over like Zamazenta, and then you get the ridiculous things like Wailord, but 220 is your normal high end for Pokemon V, so that's pretty gosh darn good. We got a retreat cost of 2, which isn't ideal, but having said that, you can get free retreat with Air Balloon, and you can get free retreat with Dark City, and you can get free retreat with Hiding Darkness Energy. So, actually, I mean, if you're a basic Darkness Pokemon, it really doesn't matter what your retreat cost is nowadays. You've got too many tricks. The weakness to fighting could be an issue, though. And honestly, right, the biggest issue with the weakness to fighting nowadays is probably Galarian Zapdos V. We looked at it in the previous video, but basically, if you've got free Pokemon V in play, it'll one-hit KO you for a single energy. That is not a good thing. And then, of course, we got all the things like the Urshifu, both single and rapid strike, which are looking like they're going to be pretty gosh darn good. It is a bad time to have a fighting weakness, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. It ain't ideal. You are a Darkness Pokemon, though. It does mean you can use Black Market Prism Star to reduce the amount of prizes you give up by 1, which is quite nice. And it means you are hitting weakness on a few things here or there. Dragapult, if that comes back into favor. I mean, in theory, as fighting Pokemon get better, Darkness Pokemon get worse, and then Dragapult might make a comeback. You never know. Or pre-rotation, you'll get a one-hit KO fairly easily on Oricorio because of the whole weakness. Although, to be fair, you get a one-hit KO anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I like the ability. The ability is Hellfire Wings. Once during your turn, you may attach a Darkness Energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. You cannot use more than one Hellfire Wings ability per turn. That means if you've got multiple Galarian Moltres out, you do not get to use this ability multiple times per turn. And that has to be the case, right? It'll be a little bit too good. Otherwise, you get extra energy, but it's only the once. And here's the thing. Accelerating energy with basic Pokemon? I don't see that very much at all. Like, you can look at stage 1 Pokemon, and we can look at stuff like Naganadel before it rotated out. And, you know, there's a million other stage 1 Pokemon that will accelerate energy quite nicely. Obviously, stage 2, we've got a billion different ones. You know, Emboar from Black and White. I don't know, I've been talking about that in my history videos lately. That was cool. We've seen a million different stage 1 and stage 2 Pokemon. But accelerating energy on a basic Pokemon? That is not something we see very often at all. You know, we saw it on Ho-Oh EX a while ago, but even Ho-Oh EX, it was a one-shot ability. It was a, when it's in a discard pile, you can put it onto your bench and flip 3 coins, and for each head, you attach a different type of basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And that is a phenomenal ability. It's an absolutely brilliant, awesome, redonkulous ability, but it's on a coin flip, and it's kind of a one-shot deal. What we've got here is the actual chance to just keep accelerating energy over and over again every turn with the same basic Pokemon, which, like I say, it's had to be a once-per-turn thing. Allowing this to be used on multiple Galarian Moltres just would not work at all. And the thing is, on the one hand, we can look at this and go, yeah, but it's only for Moltres, isn't it? No! These kind of abilities are never just for Moltres. Might I remind you about your good friend Energy Switch? Energy Switch lets you move a basic energy from one Pokemon to another. So here with something like Energy Switch, you are absolutely off and golden and raring to go. You can move the energy anywhere you like. And obviously here, we're thinking Eternatus. Because Eternatus is a phenomenal card. It lets you have 8 bench Pokemon as long as they're all darkness. And for 2 energy, you do 30 damage for each darkness Pokemon you've got in play. 270 with a full bench. Which is, frankly, absolutely phenomenal. But the problem is that you need 2 energy. So if you whiff an energy, or your opponent hits heads on Crushing Hammer, or your opponent gets a KO before you've attached a second energy and VMAXed or whatever, you run into problems. If you ever find yourself in an Eternatus deck, only having 1 energy attachment per turn with no energy on the field when your opponent's rolling, that's how you lose. You need that second energy. Well, in comes Galarian Moltres, because now you can just use the ability Energy Switch and go. Essentially, if you don't care what type of energy it is, or you want darkness, this basically takes Turbo Patch and just flatly replaces it with Energy Switch. Because now you can either flip heads on Turbo Patch, or just draw an Energy Switch. There have been plenty of times I have suggested, for instance, using Tapu Koko to get a lightning energy onto your Pokemon because it accelerates 2 lightning energy, 1 to each of 2 bench Pokemon when you lost zone it from the bench. And I've suggested using that to pay the colorless attack cost in random Pokemon's attacks because it's just an easy way on a basic Pokemon to get the energy on. Well, now if you're willing to play Energy Switch, Galarian Moltres can do that. Any darkness deck, any deck that uses colorless energy, all of a sudden, if you play Energy Switch and Galarian Moltres, you are good. And of course, pre-rotation, Weavile GX. Weavile GX lets you move your darkness energy around the field as much as you like. Now, I've left it a little while to mention Weavile purely because Weavile is going to rotate out like 6 weeks after this card comes out in English, which is going to be a little disappointing. But obviously, in any deck where you're willing to play Weavile or playing Weavile anyway, then Weavile has really fallen out of favour, to be fair. But still, this works absolutely beautifully, because now you don't even need an Energy Switch. If you've got a Galarian Moltres and a Weavile on the bench, just move it. Just move the energy over, put it onto Moltres, and then just move it straight away. Like I say, it's not a great... It's not a great option because it's multiple 2-prize Pokemon, because it's going to rotate out fairly soon, etc. But it's good for now, and it's viable. But honestly, I don't think you need to worry too much. I really do think that just having Energy Switch and this is gonna be good enough the vast majority of the time. I absolutely love it. You can even go a little bit nuts with, say, the Vikavolt from Rebel Clash here that does extra damage for each energy attached to all of your Pokemon. But I'm slightly worried that this still might not be a particularly good idea. And I'm sorry. But there is actually an attack on Galarian Moltres here as well. Free energy, 190, 30 to yourself. I don't love the attack. And I don't particularly love the weakness, because you're not hitting that many great things for weakness. Now, obviously, if Dragapult comes back, I'm going to feel a whole bunch different. It's free energy, so it's not going in one turn. You attach, you use the ability, you still need a third. You can play something like Turbo Patch, but that's going to be a little bit awkward. But it's enough damage to, say, KO a Crobat. So one option you do have here is to literally just get one of these, just leave it on the bench. And every turn, just attach an energy from the discard. And then when you're ready, you can get a KO on something like a Crobat. And you've essentially used no resources. Like, you've had to bench a basic Pokemon. But the energy has sorted itself out. And you can essentially trade 2 prizes for 2 if you want. Or maybe your opponent can't get a return KO. I don't like the self damage because it pushes you down to 190 HP. And then that really is a little disappointing. It's not particularly great. I don't think it's perfect. I'm not loving the attack here. I do think Galarian Moltres is best when you can essentially accelerate energy and move it to a more deserving Pokemon. But I do like that you can essentially build it up for free, and 190 won't get many Pokemon V, but it will get Crobat, it'll get most single prize Pokemon, it will get some weaker Pokemon V. It's certainly a useful attack, but I do think it's a kind of attack. You're not really trying to build up for it. What you're essentially doing is going, look, it's sitting there on the bench, and there's energy in a discard, so I'm just going to pop the energy on there, all right? Just get the energy on, that'll be fine, and then we can worry about it later. And then I've got a Pokemon that can attack in the future. Of course, like I've said, the biggest problem here is Galarian Zapdos. Galarian Zapdos makes a mockery of Galarian Moltres, because if you've got free Pokemon V in play, then Galarian Zapdos does 170 damage for a single energy. And that's going to destroy Eternatus. So essentially what we got is a lovely Pokemon which gives a huge boost to Eternatus decks, and then pretty much immediately got the perfect counter to Eternatus. And honestly, like, that's the biggest problem here. The biggest problem is that we've just given a massive boon to a Pokemon who essentially is helping a deck which probably isn't going to survive, Galarian Zapdos. Hey-ho. I still think this is between 4 and 5 Wossie card. We don't give half Wossies. That would be barbaric, because I don't think this needs to go into a Darkness deck. I love seeing this as essentially a Pokemon that sits on your bench and makes energy switch into Turbo Patch. I love it. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.